Fit Dads podcast. This week we are joined by a very special guest, someone who's had a profound impact on both mine and Brad's development as both coaches and people. He's been in the industry for 25 years now, over 25 years, running Performance 100, both coaching both athletes and Gen Pop clients. A man whose arms are so big that apparently they have their own moons orbiting. Welcome to the Fit Dads podcast, Mick Blythe.
Cheers, fellas. Thank you very much.
Welcome, mate.
Thank you, sir. Cheers.
We're going to start with the question I think everyone wants to know, mate. We've all been asking this. Who trains harder, me or Brad? You've coached us both. Who's on top? I just need to know, just for my own ego.
Application's everything. Your training's relevant to what you're training for.
Good answer. Political answer.
I've probably got a thicker skin than Ryan, so just be honest, Mick. Just be honest.
Mate, honestly, great to have you on. Thank you for agreeing to this as well. It's really good.
Thank you very much.
You know, we have both been coached by you, both been mentored by you. You've been someone in my journey as a coach who's been there pretty much from day one, mate. You already have. You know, you were there on my PT qualification with Envisage.
Yeah, I remember
and, you were just someone that always stuck out as being, number one, really sound, someone I could approach, someone who was really knowledgeable, just got on with everyone as well. Yeah. And someone that when I mentioned to Brad, I'd like to have you on, he was in agreement. He said that, you know, you would be a great guest and, you know, hoping to pick your brains on a few topics today.
100%. I've described you, Mick, as the final boss fit dad, which is testament just, I suppose, how you train, how you look after yourself and how you inspire people. So hopefully people listening can pick up a lot from your insights.
Thank you very, very much. I'm honoured to be asked to do it. I'm honoured to have known you, really. I remember teaching you when you were both young. It's been an absolute pleasure to see you grow and develop as coach some people.
Amazing.
It really has.
Yeah. Do you want to fire away with question one?
Just probably what got you into coaching in the first place, Mick. Ryan said over 25 years ago. Where did that start?
So I think me working in sport and exercise in some way was always going to be inevitable. I was an absolute classic sport and exercise, you know, like mad kid. You know, any sport, I wanted to do it. I wanted to be the best of it. I used to drive my mum and dad crazy, getting up at like 5 o'clock in the morning to watch American Gladiators and Trans World Sport and all that sort of stuff. As most sports mad kids, there's a hope that you might make it in professional, in one of them, but that just wasn't to be. And kind of when I realised that, it was okay, well, what's the next best thing? Teaching and coaching being the obvious thing. So left school, went to college, began working in gyms in 1999, and then it's just led nicely from there, really. And it's been 25 years, but it feels like 5, honestly, which is I think a good thing, 'cause it must mean I've enjoyed it as a whole. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. What do you think of the industry as a whole right now, where it's at? Is, you know, I guess it's more complex, the fitness industry right now, than it ever has been. What would you say what are the pros and cons to where the industry has progressed?
Yeah. So the undoubted pros, in my opinion, is just how accessible the industry is to people. Yeah. You know, I remember a time pre-internet. Wow, I'm old. You know, and even when the internet came about, the information you got was very few and far between. You know, I would, you know, literally buy Men's Health magazine every month just to try and get some little snippets from it that I could take into my own training. There might be 1 or 2 people in gyms that were really into it that give you advice as well. But in the last 10, 15 years, with the internet and social media, the industry's just exploded. Where you could almost get a master's degree worth of knowledge for free, really, if you had to get it. Gyms are everywhere, PTs are everywhere. There's so many options for training as well, online, in-person, group, boot camps. And I think that is why the industry's as popular as it is now, which is brilliant.
Cons then?
Cons.
You were avoiding that one.
Yeah. Within information, there's misinformation. Yeah. And you guys as coaches will know that sometimes clients come to us with these beliefs, things they're being told that are just scary wrong. You know, scary wrong. But then trying to convince them otherwise is difficult. I don't know, maybe it's me, but I think in the last few years as well, I maybe start to see, from a coaching perspective, a lot of people trying to sell to coaches the importance of more clients, more money, how to give clients less, in effect. And I get that from a business perspective, I do. But now the industry is so accessible and so many are interested in it, I don't want the coaching industry to forget about the coaching side. I don't want coaches and gyms just to become people and commodity orientated. I want them to do that, because that means more people training, but remembering the people that are paying, you know, coaching, information, education, and all the benefits that brings, not just being a number, not just being another member, another client on a board, etc.
Do you see the industry progressing in a positive way, or can you see it getting a little bit worse, maybe before it gets better?
Unfortunately, maybe the latter. I mean, people might be watching this thinking, "No, Mick, you're wrong," and I may well be. I think we'll probably touch on it a little bit later on. I maybe don't spend as much time on social media as I once did. I don't spend as much time out at other gyms and stuff. So maybe increasingly I've got like an insular view of the industry. But there does seem to me a slightly worrying trend that it is going down more the latter from now.
I had a thought the other day. I think that you get some amazing coaches in this industry, fantastic people who've been, you know, around forever, a wealth of knowledge, phenomenal in terms of their diversity of clients and people they've coached. But they tend to be people nowadays that aren't doing as well. Like they're not being kind of promoted. I think back in the day, the more knowledgeable you were, the more experience you had, the more in demand you were. I think the more in demand coaches nowadays tend to be the ones that are like really good at marketing, really good at social media. And you're getting guys who've been in the industry, you know, 18 months, who've got a wealth of clients. And I always think, like, I sometimes do, I mean, I'm really hoping and praying that a lot of these guys are just naturally really good coaches to the point where they can deliver a great service. But I think where I was 18 months into my coaching career, and I got really overwhelmed with like 10 clients. I had 10 clients and I was like, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed. Like, you know, you go from having none when you first start, and imagine having like 50, 100, 150 clients online at 18 months, 2 years, even 3 years in. It just seems to me like it's just, how are you going to provide that amazing service? How are you going to really crack it? And there's some great systems out there, some phenomenal apps, people have their own ways of managing it all, but I just think the clients are the ones that are suffering when there's a real big push on. That's some interesting music over there. We've got an ice cream man coming. I hope I'm sweating here. We'll have to pause the podcast if the ice cream man pulls up, by the way. That will be happening.
Real life. It's real life.
So, I just think that it is funny where the industry's going in terms of who's doing well and who's suffering a little bit. And not to say those coaches who've got loads of, you know, wealth of experience and knowledge are suffering, but they're not maybe shining and rising to the top like some of these other guys online.
Fully agree. Marketing's in every industry, it's huge. You know, when I'm talking to coaches I'm training, or you know, the gyms and stuff, I always give the examples. You think of the world's biggest companies, Nike, McDonald's, Coca-Cola, whoever. They invest probably hundreds of millions of pounds each year in marketing. And you think sportswear, you think Nike, you think soft drink, you think Coca-Cola. So they don't need to do that initially, but they obviously feel that if they don't do it now, then when those customers and clients have gone, they'll not have other ones to fill the gap. And that is no different in our industry. And so, you know, the people that are good at marketing will always attract more clients. I just hope that the gyms, the coaches, whatever, are trying to get new clients because they want to help the clients. It's not just a commodity. Because I think that's just not right, in my opinion.
In terms of relationships, how important is that? Because you mentioned about keeping clients rather than, I suppose, just constantly looking for new ones. Have you got any? I mean, what's your support network like? I always like to ask this for people who are as successful as what you are. You know, I guarantee you're not one-man band. You've got a lot of people around you. Who's that?
I don't have many, but no, I do. I mean, one of the things I will say, and I know this is going to come across as quite cliche, but one of the reasons why I love to train other personal trainers and gym owners athletes and anyone successful in general is because I really do get to lean on them as much as they get to lean on me. You know, when I train Ryan, for example, every week, we talk about things that benefit me just as much as they benefit you. And when I'm talking to guys that run the businesses completely out of this industry, that is education for me. It really is. And I do rely on people like that so much.
And that's a great answer, because I think the most successful people, when you start talking to them, very rarely talk about themselves. A lot of them are kind of extracting information from you. They want to learn from you. Everyone's a book. Everyone's an opportunity to get some kind of information. Everyone's an opportunity, and they don't see it as, right, I'm going to tell everyone how well I'm doing. It's right, what can I gain from them? And I think as a coach, same thing. Like, we've probably all had successful clients, people who've been great in their own fields for whatever reason. You're thinking to yourself when you're coaching them, like, what do they know that I don't? I'm always thinking that, like, what can I extract, what bit of information? And I've got some awesome clients that I've been coaching for years, and they are really good to run things past as well. Like, if you're struggling with, like, your marketing, or I know you've coached business coaches before as well. I'm sure you'll pick the brains a little bit and gone, like,
1,000,000%.
like, what can I do to kind of give me an edge? Is there any bit of advice you can give here? And you're not going to do it in a way where they come into the session and it's you hounding them. But in those moments of rest, it's nice just to kind of pick brains sometimes. Like I said, even though they're paying for your services, extract information. Absolutely, for sure.
And from such a diverse range of industries as well, not just thinking, right, I work in sport and exercise, so all I can think about is sport and exercise. I think that's quite a myopic view in some ways. So, whether it be someone that sells electricity for a living, or works for Emmerdale and Coronation Street, or whatever, I get so much from them. It's untrue.
I think it's hard to find an industry like that where you come across
probably
diverse people. You might go from having like an athlete to a banker, a stay-at-home mum. You just never know. I suppose one of my questions were all about parents in particular. Like, is there any traits that you notice in parents that maybe, probably both sides of the coin, that project them forward, that really help them, and things that maybe hinder them, when it comes to the training? And
I mean, listen, it's tough, isn't it? I mean, again, it's a cliche, but you really don't know what it's like to be a parent until you've been a parent. You guys know that as much as anyone. And I think when you are going to become a parent, you've always got this ideal of how your training and nutrition's going to go. I mean, if I had £1 for every time a soon-to-be parent that said, nothing's going to change, I'm still going to do this and that, and you're like, well, let's see how it goes, I
love the optimism.
Nice one. And it's never that. So all you can ever do is what you can do. I'm a big believer in that actions reveal priorities, and I think if parents really do want to still train hard, regular, consistent, and tick all the lifestyle boxes as well, they will find a way. Something's got to give at some point. They might have trained 7 days a week, that drops to 4. Well, then it's okay. In those 4 sessions, how can we maximise time even better? If you've got to train at home, just getting across to them that sessions don't have to be 60 minutes. If you've got 20 minutes to train, there's an awful lot you can do there.
Absolutely.
Fully understand not wanting to cook 2 separate meals on a night, but do you know what? Chicken nuggets and beans, they're not that bad for you. You won't see any nutrition guru saying that, but
Eddie Abu would not approve that message.
He's going, man. I had a Red Bull earlier. He's somewhere down there waiting to come and abuse me.
He's an ice cream van.
It's
a shout, isn't it?
You've just got to use your experience, I guess, as a coach and a parent, just to try and help them.
Amazing.
But knowing as well, every household's different, aren't they?
That's key. That's key. And we spoke briefly before we started recording, I suppose, just how you find being a parent. Like, have you found any challenges in particular for yourself, like when more routine, more quality of sessions, scheduling, anything like that?
I think the biggest challenge I've had and continue to have, and it's a weekly up and down struggle you have, is the balance. It's the balance. And I have times where I think I'm working too much, so I want to spend more time at home. I want to go on more holidays, weekends away, etc. And then you do that, and then you've got the expense of those things. And for me, because I'm an in-person coach, the double whammy of, well, if I'm on holiday, I'm not earning. So you look at your bank account and you're a bit like, oh, that's not what I thought it were. I need to work more. And it's that real accelerator and brake on a weekly basis. And I think just increasingly trying to find what works best for not just me, but my family as well. You know, I used to work a lot of evenings, a lot of weekends. Financially, they were good. But then you realise that you're not at home, or when you are at home, you're not really present because it's a Friday night, but you know, you're working the next day, so you stay in work mode, so it's okay, I'll drop the weekends. But then I've got to find more time Monday to Friday to work. So if I've got to do that, how efficient can I be? And I think something that I work hard to try and do, and I repeat, try, is just when I'm not at work, I'm not at work. And I did something similar, a similar podcast, maybe 2 years ago now, or something. And then I talked to the guy, the presenter Josh, about in the last few years, as much as I love sport and exercise still, fairly often trying to remove myself from that. You know, at one point I felt that every book that I read, every documentary that I watched, every free hour that I had, it had to be work focused, it had to be. And I still do a lot of that, but also sometimes just accepting that, you know what, I can just read any sort of book I want, I can just watch a film, it doesn't have to be sport related. Do you know what, I can have a weekend off work and not think about it once. And if one of my clients messages me, I either don't reply or I message with, I'll respond tomorrow.
What's the phrase? We work to live, not live to work.
Absolutely that. Yeah. And it's not that easy. It's not. It's not.
I think every parent can relate to that, where you just get so entrenched in work. And we have moments sometimes where there's months go by and that's all you've thought about.
Yeah.
Then you realise, actually, you know, I'm not giving my family the time we need. And you get to a point where I think you've got a really nice balance here of setting your own hours, knowing your work time, knowing your family time, having those moments in the year where you're on holiday and you're able to kind of completely switch off. But you're right, it's difficult as a coach because, you know, if you are in person and that's how you earn some of your income, then when you don't do sessions one-to-one, payment stops completely. You can't charge people for when you're away.
No.
So it is finding that balance for sure. And I think it doesn't matter how much you love something as well. If you do it too often and you get too entrenched in it, that is exactly when you start to, the passion goes a little bit. And I think, you know, I know, hands up, 100%, I've had moments where the passion's died a little bit, but I know it's because I'm doing it too much. One of the reasons I transitioned into more online work is purely for that reason. You know, my body, it was a physical thing more than anything else. My body was fighting back. I think I've spoken about it before, but I actually passed out during a session. And that was a catalyst for me. And sometimes for other parents, it's like the catalyst of, I can see my child's not connecting with me the same way, or I'm feeling a bit more distant. I missed their first steps, or I missed them saying something quite important. I missed that sports day, and it was all because of work. And you just have that moment where you're like, I don't want to do that anymore. I'm not. These moments happen once, and I want to catch them. For sure.
When it comes to, I suppose, being self-employed as well, if there's a parents listening who are self-employed, what tactics have you found pretty useful to, again, just get back that time, reclaim a little bit of family time where you're not thinking about work?
Like Ryan mentioned there, strict working hours. You know, I've got my board on there, which is as much for me as it is my clients.
The dinosaur board.
The dinosaur board, I tried going online once. It was a tough couple of months, mate, honestly.
Google Calendar didn't get lucky.
God.
Didn't last long.
Nightmare. And it's full, it's busy, but my hours are pretty much set, unless there's a very special occasion. So I know where I stand, my clients do, my wife and kids do as well. And I just accept that Monday to Friday, I kind of leave the house at just gone 6, I get maybe back in at just after 5 or 6. But I'm at work. You know, I had a lot of years teaching in colleges, and that was my working week then. You'd work Monday to Friday, 8 till 6 or whatever. And it's interesting because I chose to leave education for lots of reasons, but one of them is that I wanted to go and do things myself. I wanted to be my own boss. But throughout the years of being self-employed, I've actually slowly gone back to a working formula that works well for me then. But when I finish work at 6, I might have messages to answer, and I probably will do, but get home, take dog out, have my dinner, or my tea, whatever you want to call it.
Tea.
Tea. Depends where I'm at in the country, it's going out, doesn't it?
Local.
Yeah. Tea then, yeah. And then, see the kids, see my wife, watch a bit of TV, just chill out,
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. I just wanted to give you a little bit of a case study, if that's all right, Mick.
Okay.
So when me and Ryan first became parents, on separate occasions, I will add, we probably thought, how are we going to do this? How are we going to balance as business and have a family as well? So if there's another coach who's maybe going through that right now, they're listening, they're watching, and they've just had a kid, they maybe run their own business. If you could talk directly to them and remind them of something, what we saying to them?
First of all, enjoy being a parent as much as you can. Certainly enjoy your children being young, because they grow up very, 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 very fast. They'll get to an age at one point where no parent wants to accept it, but it happens. They don't want to spend that much time with you. We're probably all the same with our parents at some point. And
what is that like? Obviously your son now is
I don't see him. I've not seen him for about 3 days.
What son?
What son? I know I've got one because he still costs me money somehow. But we were talking before the show. He's out living his life. He's doing what all 16, 17-year-olds.
What age did that start to switch?
Teenage years. He probably didn't help me some because he was becoming a fully fledged teenager as lockdown started.
Yeah. Right.
So at a time when they're starting to want to sleep in and stay in the bedroom all day, well, actually there wasn't much else to do other than that. And that didn't help. But lockdown was a strange time for everyone, weren't it? And then it just continued a linear path from there, really. And he won't watch this because he didn't want to do anything I do with work. Honestly,
Really?
I couldn't care less now.
The protege of P100,
he's not interested whatsoever.
No.
But there's been weekends away. There's been chances for holidays where he's just said, "Look, I don't want to come." I remember doing that with my parents, and it will have hurt them as much as it hurt me and my wife. But it happens. So.
It's difficult because you want to create memories. You want them to be there. You're happy for them to pay for them to come. But when they turn around and say, it's not for me this one. It's hard, isn't it? I bet that is hard.
Yeah, it is.
Really hard.
And so, when you've got a chance to take them to school and pick them up and take them for ice cream and take them to the cinema or parties or whatever you can do, by and large, do it. If you want to be successful in business, you probably just can't take time off willy-nilly. That will affect you in other ways. But listen, work is not everything.
Then that's one thing I really like about you, Mick, that me and Ryan say this phrase a lot, like you just get it. It's not all about...
I think I do,
and it comes across like it's not about what you look like, it's not about... It's everything. It's like health is multifaceted.
Of course it is,
It's relationship, it's financial, it's everything. If you've got good relationships with people and you're happy, a lot of people try and seek happiness, I think, in just the way they look, and they probably miss out on that. So it's really nice to see a well-rounded.
Thank
absolutely.
You. Try
But I think fortunately enough, you've got your daughter. And you're living a little bit of that kind of childhood, kind of through her. You can see her. How happy is she when you get home? And that must be really nice because it's quite a big age gap between.
Alfie's he's nearly 17. Penelope's closing on 5. So big age gap.
That's really nice to kind of, I guess, relive that a little bit as well.
It's great.
As a little girl.
It's good
for sure.
Again, it is tough if you are watching and listening. Please don't think for 1 second that every night I get in, right, work's done. Hi, darling. Hi, tea. It's not all that, but. I think it's something that I forever try and do, and sometimes I have to give my head a little wobble when, one of the kids or my wife or whatever is, they're wanting presence, they're wanting conversation, they want to talk to me, and I'm looking at my phone. You just have to go, look, this can wait. It can wait. It doesn't matter.
Just kind of obviously going through your career quite a lot, going through your personal stuff. What are your biggest regrets when it comes to the work stuff, personal life? If there's anything you could go back and change, what would that be?
Oh, Jesus, that is tough. Give me a minute.
Heavy that, right?
I thought I'd throw a few curveball questions at you.
Yeah. That weren't even on the notes that you sent me now. I need a minute. We've all got regrets, haven't we? We've all got regrets. And I think, as I said to you, I worked in formal education for a long time in colleges. And at one time in my life, I absolutely loved it. And then I didn't. For a good couple of years, I felt quite trapped because I wasn't sure on what else to do, and that's stressful. That is stressful, and conversations I had with people and how I acted in certain jobs and how I went about leaving certain jobs. I don't think that was my best period. Okay. I look back on that and think, Mick, you probably shouldn't have done that.
How old were you at this stage?
So 2013, early 30s. Okay. So yeah, probably from like 29 to maybe 31 to 32. You know, I went from one main full-time job into some other jobs. At the time, I didn't think I was being unprofessional. I thought I was standing my ground and being quite forthright and, you know, trying to say I'm not happy with where my career's going and I wanted to go this way, so I'm making it happen whether you like it or not. But I think when you get older, you get a bit more worldly wise and you look back and you think, okay, I wish I could have that time again.
But it got you to where you are now.
Absolutely. So, I think we all do that as well, don't we?
Yeah, we overanalyse little things, but if they got you to that next level, if they were the stepping stone for something better career-wise, personal-wise, it's sometimes in a weird way, it is hard to regret it because it got you to that next spot.
Yeah.
So would you change how you approach things there, or would you? Do you think that you can?
Honestly and truthfully, I think when I knew I was going to leave formal education, that one main job, I think if you'd said, look, Nick, in 12 years' time, you're going to have your own gym that's 5 minutes from home, and you get to pick your working hours, and you've got a full client roster, I think I probably would have taken that,
Of course.
So where I've ended up is probably, what I would have taken. I didn't know I was going to do that, but I would have taken it. So I wouldn't change the decisions necessarily, but just maybe how I went about a few conversations and stuff,
Okay.
Yeah. Me and you say a lot, Ryan, don't we? Like taking a calculated risk. We quite like risk takers, as long as it's calculated and not reckless. And that sounds very much like a brave thing to do, especially on your part. So, like you said, it's nice to fast forward and think, what would Mick in 10 years' time say and do? What you open for Mick Blythe in the next 10 years?
Oh, some peace and quiet, I think. That'd be nice, a few extra days off, I honestly don't know. You know, I do still love my job. I've been down here now. I've been self-employed 12 years, I think. I've been down here 8.5 years, and it has all absolutely flown. Honestly, I have to pinch myself when I think I opened up early 2016, and things are going so well. I like to think I've got a pretty good work-life balance. So for the foreseeable, I'm more than happy to still do what I do. I do miss teaching in some ways. I do. I miss being back in front of a group teaching qualifications and some real high-end subjects. Degree level subjects and stuff like that. Maybe as I get a little bit older and a bit greyer, that might be something I edge back into, whether in person or online and stuff. But I think I'm all right for a few years,
Amazing. Amazing. It's nice to see you enjoying it and sort of knowing that bread's buttered, I'm gonna enjoy it. It's amazing.
And the different clients you always get through the door, keep things exciting. No two people are the same, so no matter how samey it can feel some weeks, you're only 2 or 3 clients away from having new challenges, new, things you have to learn as a result of their goals. So it keeps you on your toes, this job, as much as any job can be a bit samey. Coaching is so diverse, isn't it? You know? So
100%. I feel like we dropped a few names, Mick, before we started recording, didn't we? We were bounding around some famous names, some famous faces, which probably brings me on to one fun question that I had, which was, if you could choose one actor to play you in a film biopic, all right, who are we choosing and why?
I repeat, like I said earlier, there's no answer I can give here that I'm not going to get absolutely slaughtered for.
We'll make sure this makes the promo video.
Yeah. Mick says he looks like so and so. Well, I'm in my 40s, so it's got to be someone over 40, hasn't it?
I'm intrigued. I thought we need a drum roll now.
Oh God!
I've got a suggestion, but I want to hear yours first.
Well, if it's someone that's going to play me in a film, then I've got to pick someone that's going to make me look good,
Yeah.
Brad Pitt's still in pretty good nick, isn't he?
Yeah.
But I think he's close to 60s in 40.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
But I think he can get away with it.
Yeah.
We'll see what's good.
Brad can do what he wants.
He can. He's going to have to do some big training, Brad Pitt, before.
You've seen, what was that movie? He was in the... he's in a few fighting movies, hasn't he?
Yeah. Fight Club.
For
the record, I mentioned this online. Over the years, Brad Pitt's physique in Fight Club and Snatch is the one that people have most asked to be like.
Really?
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah. Someone once asked to look like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle because the latest film, they're all stacked out there. I've not seen it. But yeah, Brad Pitt, early 2000s is the one.
Yeah.
So maybe him.
That was an iconic physique, wasn't it?
Yeah,
really
yeah.
iconic.
Just ripped, weren't he?
Yeah, he's absolutely unbelievable.
If not Brad Pitt, I watched the new Roadhouse film a few weeks ago. Jake Gyllenhaal's in pretty good shape, innit?
Yeah, agreed.
Stacked in it, to be fair.
Yeah.
So he must be close to 40, 42, wouldn't he?
That's probably more age related.
We'll say him then,
Yeah, we'll put it out there.
Yeah.
We'll ask some favours.
Cheers.
Also, do you know what I was thinking? Whether you'll be offended by it or not, I'm not sure. Daniel Craig.
I thought you said Danny DeVito then.
You're a bit taller than that.
Mate, I will take Daniel Craig all day long.
I think Daniel Craig would be a shout.
Yeah.
I worried when you said you could get offended, but I thought you were going to go like full Expendables.
I'll take Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig was a good shout. I mean, he's been some great Nick. You've seen him on the Bond photos, coming out the ocean. Yeah, he's got a good physique. There we go. When he puts his head down.
Yeah, I'll take him, definitely.
About you, Ryan?
Oh, me? For a film? I don't know.
You've thought about it?
God, no, honestly, I haven't. When I saw your question, I thought it was a good question, actually, but when you put me on the spot now.
Zac Efron, he's stacked in his early 30s, isn't he?
Yeah, he seems to have got big very quickly. Whether there's some, Mexican supplements in there, I don't know.
There's something in there.
There's something going on, I think, with most.
I'm not ashamed to say I'd want Ryan Reynolds for me. He's tall.
Would you? Ryan Reynolds?
You just have to lose a few. Lose a bit of muscle to play me. He'd be all right.
Yeah, slim down.
Slim down a bit to play me. But,
it's great, Ryan Reynolds, isn't it?
It's class.
Brilliant.
It's class. But
my knowledge of actors isn't really good, so I'm trying to think now. We would have, but I'd probably go. Yeah, probably would try Brad Pitt, but he's probably too old for me now, isn't he? I think, is he?
I'll figure it out.
Yeah,
de-age him.
I see a lot of Ben Affleck memes at the minute, and I feel like him sometimes. Where he just looks like just beaten sometimes, doesn't he? Yeah.
Is he overweight a bit now? Has he lost his shape?
It just looks like he's just wants a quiet Starbucks. To be fair, puts it out on his own. Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
Amazing. Mick, I suppose I wanted to compliment Performance 100 as well. Like me, I've trained here in the past. Ryan trains here at the moment.
Yeah.
What made you want to move here? I know you said 5 minutes from home.
Yeah.
But is it an ongoing project as always? Like, there's some new kit since last time I've been here.
I mean, it's I'm a little bit bound by what I can do to it, aesthetically speaking. There's probably some aesthetic changes I would like to make, but I can't really. It's definitely in need of a facelift, a new carpet and a paint. But I again, this is cheesy number one. But I learned to train in my dad's garage in the 90s, and it was, if I said to you, semi-detached house, garage in the 90s, that's exactly what it was.
It's old school.
Yeah, my dad was into training. We had kit there that was like robbed, borrowed, stole on some occasions. Stole like loads of shot puts from the local school field to like curling and stuff.
I love that.
Brilliant. Still got them, yeah.
I mean, that's game,
I mean, it's the worst things you could steal.
Yeah, I thought I'm having them. But it was great, and I loved it to the point where when then I started to go out and train and work in commercial gyms, they still felt a bit alien. And even in like, I mean, I used to live not far from my mum and dad. We moved about 8 years ago. But even up to about 8 years ago, I still used to go in there if I could and train. And even from being like a young person, I always used to say, if I ever open my gym at some point, I want it to look and resemble a garage. That's how I like to train. I feel like other people like to train like that. They maybe just don't know it yet. And yeah, aesthetically it doesn't look great, and other places look better. But as long as it's functional and I can do the job that I want and service my clients, then I'm happy for that.
You've probably partly answered one of my next questions, which is going to be about like philosophies and mantras. Yeah. Have you got any philosophies that you try and instill in your clients and people you come in contact with?
I heard something once, a long time ago, that said progression occurs when challenge meets enjoyment. And I love that. And I think that's something that I've always tried to get across when training clients and stuff. There has to be physical challenge. You know, we know that there can be no physiological adaptations unless the body and brain are given a reason to do that. So training has to be challenging, progressive. You have to push people, even sometimes when they don't want to, whether it be extra weight, reps, whatever. It's got to be driven. It's got to be intentful. But behind all that, there's got to be some level of enjoyment. It's got to be a tough environment, but I think a relaxed and safe one. There's got to be humour. You've got to try and get the sort of music on that your clients want. You have to understand your client, so you know when it's a day to push really hard and maybe a day not to push so much. And I think just making it a place that clients want to go and feel like they don't have to go. I'm a big believer in that if there was a pill invented that made you look how you want to look, probably everyone in the world would take it. Only a few people then would continue training, because for most it's a means to an end, and we have to accept that. But by creating some level of enjoyment with sessions, you are creating more and more clients that, like I said, train because they want to do, not just because they need to do. And if you do that, they'll keep coming back. You know, even when they lose a bit of focus with training, you know, motivation is disloyal, it comes and goes. I want to like to think that they still come because they think, I'm not going to train that hard today, I've not got a goal, but do you know what? I enjoy that hour.
Yeah.
I enjoy that hour.
Yeah. I'll massively commend you. I've said this before in sessions, that the community you built here, I think really has that ethos around it, where it's people come here, you know, yes, you might have some fancier looking gyms, you might have some fancier looking bits of kit, but you've got exactly what you need. You've built it up over the years, very similar to my gym. You know, it's nothing spectacular or fancy. It's just got what I need, built it up over the years. And clients come here because they know they're going to get a certain standard of training. There's going to be a certain vibe and atmosphere around it. And I think they're heavily invested in you more than anything else. I think they really appreciate you as a coach and what you bring in terms of knowledge, motivation, and that. I think how you conduct yourself definitely inspires that community for sure. So, you know, something I've been, you know, jealous of from afar actually in terms of what you've built here and the community for sure.
Yeah, no, appreciate that.
Yeah. I think in terms of how you inspire me a little bit, I thought this is Mick like blowing smoke hour, which we're going to do right now.
Keep it coming, fellas. Keep it coming.
Don't mind. Yeah, obviously I've been to a few of your workshops and stuff like that, and just the way that you communicate, and obviously I also assess trainers, like soon-to-be trainers in like with Envisage and numerous other companies, and you were a big influence on that as well, seeing how you worked and how you do things, and how important is communication in your eyes on every level?
I think it is. I think it's everything, isn't it? I think it's not what you know. It's how you communicate it. I mean, I was at one point. I think certainly when I went self-employed and went back into coaching, because for a few years before that I'd been teaching degree level stuff. So the information you are giving your students at that point is all very detailed and scientific. I went back into coaching, being that very academic, data, scientific coach. Probably, what's the saying? Paralysis by analysis in some ways. And I quickly realised it's okay to know all that. It's okay to apply all that, but you just don't need to tell your clients that. And it's absolutely okay for clients to just some days train their arms, or it's sometimes okay to go off plan, to go rogue, as I call it, just because you feel at that time that is what is best needed, from that session.
You put out some great things actually on Facebook about like little quotes. Have you got Mick on Facebook? You follow, yeah. Just occasionally, almost like a bit of a voice of the people sometimes, which I absolutely love. And some things that you mentioned in those posts really stick with me. And one of the ones was, a lifetime of 6 out of 10 workouts is much better than 3 months of 10 out of 10. That's something you say. And that really struck me, being like, actually, yeah, you're right, because longevity matters. If it's about doing things for a long period of time, and we spoke heavily on this podcast about, long-term foresight as opposed to short-term, small gains. And I think that approach of 6 out of 10 workouts, you don't have to have your best workout. If you're feeling 60% and you give 60%, you're giving 100% on that day. That for me is so important. And you can have those moments where you are 100%, go for it. But it's showing up and just doing the arm sessions when you want. It's doing the kind of easy things as and when they come up, basically.
I feel like if you call someone a 6 out of 10 normally, it's a massive insult. We're encouraging people to be a 6 out of 10.
But sometimes, for the record, sometimes,
No, look, a lifelong 6 out of 10 is like you're going to get in great shape, you're going to perform really well, you're going to do all the things you want to do with your performance and your physique. Taking that approach as opposed to what's heavily pushed in the industry now, which is the 10 out of 10 for 3 months. Give me your life, give me your soul for 3 months. And then after that, or 8 weeks, or even worse, 6 weeks. Like we drain every ounce of enjoyment out of like getting in shape, and then and
if you don't do this, you are in some way a lesser person than I, the coach.
Exactly.
That's just not my thing.
No, I agree. And I think we all have that kind of similar philosophy, really.
Just because you both mentioned arm training, and Ryan said it in the intro, I feel like I've had a few people in my ear saying, just ask Mick how he trains his arms. Can we get some clarification? And I don't know if we're going to get this to me feels like Colonel Sanders, like
I'm not sure I can tell you that, I'll be honest. I'm not sure I can.
Doesn't want to divulge his secrets.
I don't want to divulge, that's all I've got now.
Mick's going to go to the grave with his arm training secrets.
42, that's all I've got, mate. I've been told I look like Daniel Craig, and I've got decent arms still. I'm off, I'm done.
Do they need to visit P100?
P100,
Visit
book
P100.
10 sessions in. There probably is no best way to train arms. There's a best way to train any muscle. What I sometimes see people doing that isn't wrong, but I would suggest changing, is they very often put biceps and triceps at the end of a session with something else when they're a little bit pre-fatigued. They're looking at the watch, they're also wanting to get off. I would say if you want to improve arms, dedicate at least one session a week to it. I would say absolutely, do the old school any pump exercises, the dumbbell barbell curl variations, the extension variations, arms in front of your body, behind, sideways, 3 sets, 15-20 reps, all of that, absolutely. But don't forget to go heavy on arms as well.
Brad hasn't got his notepad out at this point.
I'm going to be watching this. Watch this back cam this time.
Don't be afraid to go heavier on the curls and extensions and presses.
Agreed.
5, 6, 7, 8 reps or whatever else. Think about other heavy compound exercises that you can make quite arm dominant. So pull up and chin up variations with a neutral grip or supine grip, like heavy loaded carries. If you're doing your bench presses, shoulder presses, have more of a neutral grip, bring your triceps back into it, stuff like that.
Great advice.
And maybe have like a bit of a 3-week rotation. Week 1, your old school high volume ones. Week 2, similar exercises, but far heavier, more load, less volume. Week 3, one of those like heavy compound sessions.
I'm actually thrilled we've got a serious answer there, because I thought he was going to bat it away. But
wear a tight t-shirt. Always.
Of course. Size down.
Size down, always.
Extra small for me.
Yeah.
He put on his story yesterday, he was there doing the podcast, and he's always worried about getting out-angled because...
it's not hard.
So he had a video of him doing some bicep curls in front of the mirror, which I quite liked.
Ryan's under strict instructions to wear long sleeves today. I'm thrilled.
For some reason, of all the days in the week, this has turned out about 25 degrees today. And I've worn my jumper, so... but under here, I've got a vest, and I thought, lads, I'm gonna give you the limelight today.
Genetics are important as well, though.
100%. Oh, absolutely.
Some of the people who've got the biggest calves you'll ever see have never ever been in the gym. So...
are you saying long levers are a disadvantage, Mick?
Sometimes, yeah.
Get in.
Yeah.
It's I mean, just to turn the tables a little bit now, Mick. Like, have you got any questions for me and Ryan that maybe, obviously, work maybe with a different demographic or sometimes similar?
Yeah.
Like, is there anything that you want to bounce off for us that we can?
I have been thinking about this actually. I am interested to. Because you guys have been in the industry as qualified PT, you can't be far off 10 years now.
9.5 years, pretty much.
9.5 years, yeah. I thought so, yeah. Brad?
14,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. So, how do you think your careers and understanding of the industry have changed that time? Because you're both very, very, very experienced seasoned coaches now, aren't you?
Yeah, I think for us, it's doing it because you love it. It's doing it because you want to help. When I was managing over at Firehouse Fitness, when we used to do the interviews, we used to say to people like, why do you want to be a PT? And occasionally people would say, because I just love training. And I'm like, yeah, that's one part of it, but I'd like the top answer, I didn't tell them this at the time, to be I love helping people. Yeah. Like, it might have made such an impact on them that they want to help other people do it. Yeah. And that's still, for me, quite the driving force. It's always number one. And that's why I'm keen to, like, when Ryan first asked me to do this podcast, I never wanted an episode to pass us by, because there's a lot of knowledge that we can extract from people and put it out there. So yeah, that's it for me, just helping people, number one. It gives you it's the most selfish thing you can ever do.
Yeah. I think I concur with that as well. I think that's been inherent, like, passion for helping people and driving people forwards and wanting to see people succeed. Actually, a little chat with Charlie the other day, and he's an up and coming PT, obviously works here at P100, and he seemed like his intentions are really in the right place, and it's just really nice and refreshing to see people getting into the industry, not because they've seen some guys doing 10k, 15k, 20k months, but because they want to make the industry better. They want to bring something to their community. They've got something to give back, and that's really nice, and to know that those guys are still out there, and I'm more than happy to sit down with those people, as are you guys, I'm sure, as well. And give them advice, because our industry needs better people. It needs people who are in it for the right reasons, to help people. Because there's so many people that need help. Like there's no shortage of clients. There's no shortage of money to be made. You've just got to make sure that you are, like I said, doing it for the right reasons. And I honestly think that, I said this to Charlie, the people that I know who've been around in this industry for the amount of time that we've been in it are the people that are in it for the right reasons. The people that come and go very quickly are the ones who maybe see what you can earn as a gym floor PT, 25, 35, 45 pounds an hour, and they go, okay, maybe all I have to do is be in the industry for be working, let's say, 40 hours a week, an amazing wage. But it's really hard to get there, number one. You have to build a reputation. You have to kind of stick it out for the long run. You can't just hope and wish those things are going to happen. And if you get too caught up in the monetary side of things, I think your passion dies really quickly. Because you're not going to, in the first few years, you're not going to be earning the big bucks that everyone says you can be earning. You're just not. And if you find that hard to accept, you're not going to be here in the long run. Yeah, no.
And your client successes, your client feedback, in my opinion, that is just the far best marketing you can ever have. You can pay for a business school's going to message me and tell me I'm wrong later, aren't they? You can pay for your advertising and whatever else, but you making someone happy, healthy, helping them achieve what they want to achieve, and then them going out and telling anyone and everyone that you've done that with them, that trumps anything else.
Not just for your business, but also for you, knowing that you're doing the right things, knowing that someone's had such a good service that they're willing to recommend you to their close, personal, family, friends in their tight circle. That's really nice feeling, isn't it? When that happens, for sure.
Amazing. I suppose one of my final questions for you, Mick, is one that I didn't send you across, but I sort of wanted to dive into it a little bit in terms of who's been a big influence on your career and you as a person, as a man, as a father, and that sort of stuff.
God, wow, it's tough. Sorry, I'm getting a bit that wet delay. There's been a variety of people over the years. People. There's been coaches that a lot of sports coaches that I've seen and followed that have been a big influence on not just the technical side of coaching, but man management and things like that. Like I mentioned earlier, one of the things I love about my job is I get to learn so much from other people as well, and there's clients that I've had that I've still got or not had, they've long time left, but they've just given me information and advice that has just been so beneficial to me. I remember one story a guy told me. He's a current client. I won't mention him because he's fairly private, but he wanted to work in an industry and he had no qualifications in it. And so he applied for any sort of job within that industry that he thought would give him a step up. And he got one of these jobs, but it required him to do a lot of typing. We're going back like 90s now, so laptops were quite new. But he couldn't type, never had a laptop. So he said that he used to go into work about 2 hours early every day and finish 2 hours late every day. And he'd use the excuse that buses or trains would only get him there. And then when he was at work and there was nobody else there, he would type one thing at a time. Then when everyone else came to work and were doing what they were doing, he was doing a lot of procrastinating and pretending he was writing stuff and deleting it, just so he wasn't stood there typing. Wow. And he basically did that until he got good at typing, that he no longer had to do that. And then he got good at that job, that led to another job, and now he's living his dream job in the street he wants. And again, I love stuff like that, that metaphor there of believing in yourself, trusting in yourself and making it work however you need to do it, fake it until you make it, is just something that I think is so relevant to people. And that's not come from a world-class coach or a celebrity or anyone. He's probably not told too many people that story, but
that's one that always stuck with you.
But one that stuck with me, and there's been countless other ones from stuff like that as well.
I think it's willing to be rubbish as well, isn't it? When we were setting up here, that's the first thing we said. We've never done a podcast on the road before, and you've been so patient and so kind with it, and I'm hoping. You've said everything you want to say. And
I loved it. Yeah,
I do. I think
just find ways to be better and try them, do them. If they don't work, learn from it. Try something else or go again.
Don't be afraid to fail. I think it's a great story to end with, because I think it really is so poignant for our audience. As the Fit Dads podcast, our audience is parents, busy professionals, people who are going to fail a lot, basically. They're going to have moments and weeks and months sometimes where it all goes a bit tits up and they don't really progress. Maybe they regress slightly, but as soon as you throw that towel in and you accept defeat, it is game over. That officially is game over, but just never stop and you will 100% get there if you somehow find a way to make it work.
Mick, you would absolutely make my day if you would accept the title of Final Boss Fit Dad.
I will accept it, I don't believe I'm worthy of it, but I will accept it.
It's like I say, me and Ryan both said you're someone who we really aspire to emulate, and I'm really proud of what you've done so far.
Appreciate it, lads.
I think it's a worthy title, the Final Boss Fit Dad. Also, I love that will be the title of this episode, by the way.
I will take that. I'm going to frame that. Canvas.
Class.
I'll tell my wife and my oldest lad, my mates, and they'll be like, "What you on about, mate?"
We'll just have it on loop, us two repeat. So whenever you're feeling down, put it on.
It's gonna be my ringtone on my phone.
It's like a reverse Goggins. Have you seen what Goggins does when he plays hate messages?
Yeah.
There we go. I'm the Final Boss Fit Dad. This is it.
Lads, it's been an absolute pleasure. I love you both as people and coaches. When I teach students, or have taught them, I like to think I've got a good eye for the ones that do well. I've said before, the ones that often go on to do very well are the ones that are sat forward in the chairs when you're teaching them. They're interested, they want to learn. The ones that are kind of sat back, arms folded, I'm too cool for school, I don't need to be here. Often they're not the ones that do well. And I remember good students, I remember good people when I work with them, because they do that. And you two guys were that. I've told you both that before. You stood out in what you did. It's been no surprise you've gone on to have the careers that you've had and you're going to have. It's no surprise to me that you've done that while becoming dads and partners as well. But you have still got to do that, haven't you? Mm-hmm. You know, you've still got to do it. And so whatever you've done, lads, has been brilliant. It works, and just keep doing it.
Thank you very much, mate.
And in
appreciate that.
10 years' time, you might be getting interviewed by some guys a bit younger asking you similar questions.
Yeah. With fancier kit than what we've got here. Much fancier, I'm sure. We'll be scratching our heads going, what was all this stuff about? Yeah.
I think we'll come for that title, won't we, one day?
You'll have that title one day. You'll have it. Don't you worry about that.
Mick, thank you, mate. It's been really good to come on, and should we sign off?
Sign off, just where people can find you, like where can people find our stuff?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Mick Blythe Performance. If anyone's got any questions about anything that I've covered, or listen, if anyone disagrees and wants to put their argument across, I don't mind.
He will fight you, by the way. He will.
I've got two sledgehammers next door. That's pretty good with them. Yeah, just try me. Add me, whatever, drop me a message, and if I could help and respond, I absolutely will do.
Amazing. And I'll reiterate that I think Mick puts out some fantastic things on social media, really good, down-to-earth, knowledgeable advice, so definitely worth a follow on those platforms, absolutely.
Amazing. Cheers, Mick.
Cheers, thank you so much. Thank you.
Amazing.
Cheers,
guys, thanks for joining us on the Fit Dads podcast. See you in the next one.
See you soon.
Cheers, guys.